talked agronomy,
awesome.
talked shop, talked how do we make a profit in 2025 and impact soil. And you and I started talking about life in the future.
Yes.
Like, how do we change the trajectory of our family unit moving forward? And so I was talking about land doesn't survive 3 generations is the common quote. And I see it all around me. The first one earns it earns it. I mean, that's what it is. The second one maintains. That basically they inherit it, and then they had a connection to the land.
Mm-hmm.
But and then they give it to their kids who, I mean, dude, I have landowners who their kids have never even seen the farm before. And I've got the opposite. I've got some where the kids have been on it and they love the land, but the ones that have not have the highest likelihood of selling that land at some point because there's an 80-acre tract or, there's $500,000.
Yes.
Choices.
That's right.
Choices.
So,
but we started talking about, steps in life that we're trying to make so that we move our family. It's opportunity captured.
yes.
And we started talking about the Rockefellers.
Yes.
And whether right, wrong, or indifferent, they have created a family network, a systems
approach to retaining wealth.
Yeah.
For multi-generations.
Yeah. I mean, you and I are both finance junkies. And so we start nerding out about it. And, how do we make, dude, money's a weird talk. It's because it has been made weird because, we're going to get in our soapbox and I want to talk about grain marketing and we might still, but I wanted to talk about, finance on the farm because we're looking at, there's some on the farm. They're okay. We're going to have a tax bill and heavy tax bill. I hope everyone has a tax bill in 2025.
Profitable.
Yeah.
I was a firm believer that it's okay to pay taxes. Just make sure you're always just doing your share.
Right.
Overpaying taxes is the problem.
Right.
So, and how do you help minimize that? Because there's so many approaches to be more tax efficient.
Absolutely.
So
farmers are generally terrible bookkeepers and worse tax planners.
Yeah.
How many times do we go, well, I'm going to go meet with the tax guy to tell me how the year went.
Yeah.
Man, we got to quit doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We got to quit doing that.
I think about, and I don't mean this rudely, but and how many other business avenues are there that you wouldn't know your books and you could just keep going in that sense, so it's one of those things. If we're talking about longevity and trying to put the next generation in the best situation possible, we either need to find somebody to put on our team that can do that for us, which is fine, 100% great, or you got to start buckling up doing it on your own. Of course, I'm saying that tongue in cheek because I need to talk to myself a little bit too. To be 100% honest.
We're not completely developed by any means. We're just, we both have a very passionate goal on the trajectory of the future of our families financially.
Yes.
And, it's one of those things where money's, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. One of my mentors, Greg Cook, he told me, he said, money is a spiritual thing. And I'm like, okay, that's an odd statement. What do you mean? He said, if I take your wallet and I take $100 out and I hand the wallet to you and I walk out that door, what are your feelings toward me? I said, I'm a little pissed.
Yep.
Give me my money back. He says, okay. He says, and that causes you to have a negative feeling towards me or a negative emotion that might lead to a negative interaction. I said, absolutely. He said, that's a spiritual interaction. Okay. He says, if I take your wallet and I put a $100 bill in it and I hand it back to you, how do you feel? I said, man, what'd you do that for? Thank you. I'm appreciative.
Well, let's be honest. You'd be like, what are you doing? Here, take it back.
Yeah.
That's how I would be.
Need
what
to
are
give
you
me
doing?
$100.
What are you doing?
This for? Yeah, exactly. But the emotion is completely different.
Yeah.
And generally the first reaction is not the correct reaction so many times in life. And so it's one of those things of how do we become a financial steward of whatever we're doing, of Johnny Ferentz, of Josh Pretzer, of the farm, of business, of the family, whatever it might be. How do we set ourselves up so that we can be profitable and that we can grow and hopefully give to our children something that they can then take and then grow and so on and so forth.
Yes.
I mean, my dad worked his butt off his entire life to grow an operation and then, handed it to me, transitioned, I guess is the right word, transitioned to me and my wife. And now my wife and I, hopefully, prayerfully can grow this business and our operation, not necessarily acres-wise,
Yep.
efficiency-wise,
Yep.
to then hand off to the boys if they want to farm, or daughters, I don't know, whoever is passionate about
Yes.
agriculture and is, showing signs of being a good steward of long-term land management. Anyway, but a lot of, the number one hype or talk right now is how do we make a profit in 2025?
Yep.
We just talked about it with some of the guys, and it's, I don't know. I mean, what's the first thoughts that come to your mind when guys say, I need to save some money in 2025? Well, here, before I say that, one guy told me, he said, I'm shooting for 200 bushel corn, and I'm gonna run my agronomy program accordingly. Okay, how many times have you hit 200? I've never raised 200 bushel corn, was the answer. Okay, man. Well, if you've never raised 200 bushel corn, then who says that what you're doing is going to get you to 200?
Yep.
Because if what you're doing is what's supposed to get you to 200 and you haven't gotten there, I'm sorry, what you're doing is not what's going to get you there. If so, you do it every time.
Yes.
So it's probably the year that is going to get us there. So, number one thing is reality. What are you realistically going to shoot for? And so when you're looking at an operation, you're talking to farmers and growers, I guess from the outside looking in, but having a very good feel for the in. It's not like Johnny meets Josh and Johnny knows nothing about Josh. Hey, how does, Johnny, who has worked with Josh on his operation some, or, fill the name in, knowing about the operation, but not having a stake in the operation. How do you look into 2025 and go, this is how I think we could change things, move things, decrease, increase, or just be more intentional?
I think that's the biggest thing, is being intentional and looking at, research and data where you gain yield without changing costs.